Every RAG tutorial opens up with a definition no one understands, and then they throw 40 slides at you. Half of you fall asleep and half of you Google the same thing again next week because nothing actually stuck. I'll do the opposite. I won't explain you what RAG is at the start. In fact, I won't even use the word RAG until the very end. But by then, I promise you, you'll exactly know what that is. You'll be like, oh, that's it. That's what everyone's been hyping about. There are lots of AI models in the world. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and whatever you use. They are trained on massive amounts of data. They're smart, they know a lot, but they don't know about your world. They don't know about your company's documents. They don't know about your product. That data is private. The AI was never trained on that. So let's say you want to build an AI Wikipedia for your company. A place where your employees can go, or any employee in the company can go and ask any question. When are the next holidays coming? What is the layoff policy here? What are the HR policies here? Anything. And they don't have to go and search on different websites. That AI Wikipedia can answer that question. How would you do it? You'll obviously create a UI, a front end where people can come in and ask their questions. You can put an AI model at the back, right? But the problem is the model is not trained on your company's data. So how can it answer those questions? That's a problem, right? How do you solve it? If you think about it, the solution is pretty straightforward. What you can do is create a big document which has all the information about your company, put that in with the user's question in the prompt. And now AI it knows everything about your company, it knows the user's question, it can answer, right? So something like this. This is the question of the user. With this, you put the data, you feed this into the AI, and that gives you the answer. Do we get this? This solves the problem, right? No, it doesn't. There's a catch. These models charge you on the amount of input data that you send them. Now, you know that you are sending in the full company's document, everything in every prompt. This would be too costly. Just imagine that you create this AI Wikipedia and there would be so many employees who would be asking all sorts of questions, and you have to incur 25 to 30 rupees per question. Is that feasible? Is that sustainable? It is absolutely not. So, what should we do? What is the next step we can take? Let's think about this logically. When an employee wants to know about the upcoming holidays, do we need to feed in data about HR harassment policy? Do we need to feed in data about the next layoffs? Do we need to feed in data about the onboarding tutorials? Absolutely not. That's junk for this question. Can we actually figure out the relevant company data which is very specific to the question that has been asked? That will reduce our input data to a very, very big extent and help us reduce the cost and answer the question properly. This is where two very important things come in. The first is chunking. What if we do not send in the full company's data? What if we break it into chunks? A small chunk which has all the information about holidays. A small chunk which has all the information about, let's say, HR policies. Another chunk which can be about onboarding documents. Now what we've done is we have logically divided our full company's data into meaningful chunks. What if when a user asks a question about holidays, we do not send in all the information? In fact, we can just send in the data which is very specific to holidays. This will do two very important things. First of all, it will reduce the size of the input text, which will significantly lower our cost. The second very important point is, it has been seen that when you give a lot of data in the prompt to an AI, it hallucinates. We are here significantly lowering the size of the input, which will also mean that the answer would be very proper. The chances of hallucination would be significantly lower. Now, embeddings. All of us know this, and for the ones who don't, let me tell you, the machines understand numbers better. They actually do not understand text at all. So, there are ways you can convert a textual representation into a numerical representation. Do not worry about how that is done. Just understand that this whole chunk which contains text about the holidays can be converted into a numerical representation. Right now, I'm writing some random numbers. But all of these textual things can be converted into a numerical form. I have given each of these chunks some numerical representation. For holidays, these numbers, these are the embeddings of this chunk. These are the embeddings of this chunk. Time to complete the puzzle. User asks a question. Let's say the question is around holidays. When will the next holidays be? This user question, which is also a text, can be converted into a numerical form. Its own embeddings. Just writing some random numbers. Now, the magic moment. There is a way wherein you can compare and figure out which one of these chunks are closest to meaning by comparing the embeddings. Because the question is about holidays and this chunk specifically talks about holidays, this chunk will be closest when we compare the similarity. Okay? Now again, do not worry about how the similarity would be found. There are many ways. One of the most popular ways you'll hear is cosine similarity. But again, that's for a separate day. For now, just understand we can figure out which of these chunks are most relevant to this user's question. Obviously, because this question is about holidays, this chunk would be returned. You'll get this chunk. Now, let's come back to what we were doing initially. We have to get the question, the user's question. We have to feed in data, but now we are not gonna feed in the full data. We'll just feed in the relevant chunk, which will be, I don't know, 1,000th the size of the total data. You will feed this to the AI. You will get the answer. Boom, your AI Wikipedia is ready at a very cost-effective price. Do we get this? This is the whole architecture. Did you notice something? Throughout this entire explanation, I haven't used the word RAG even once. But let me tell you, if you understood everything that I just spoke of, you now know what RAG means. Now RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. You might feel this is a very technical term, but let me tell you, retrieval, you retrieve the most relevant chunks from your whole data. In this example, the most relevant chunk was the holidays. Augmented, you augment your prompt with the relevant data. Generation, your model then generates the answer. That's it. This is RAG. No hype, no magic. A simplified way of giving AI the most relevant data to answer your question. Wasn't that obvious? Now, if this made sense to you, if you felt I made your life a little bit easier, subscribe. And also tell me in the comments, what is the next video? What should I make next? Also, if you have any questions, you can put that in the comments. This is a new channel, so I will be reading every comment and I'll try to answer that in the best way possible. Till then, bye-bye.